Hoyt Axton was an American folk music singer, songwriter, and a film and television actor. He became prominent in the early 1960s, establishing himself on the West Coast as a folk singer with an earthy style and powerful voice. As he matured, some of his songwriting efforts became well known throughout the world. Among them were Joy to the World, The Pusher, No No Song, Greenback Dollar, and Never Been to Spain. Life in Korea. Born in Duncan, Oklahoma, Axton spent his preteen years in Comanche, Oklahoma, with his brother, John. His mother, Mae Boren Axton, a songwriter, co-wrote the classic rock and roll song, Heartbreak Hotel, which became the first major hit for Elvis Presley. Some of Hoyt's own songs were also later recorded by Elvis. Axton's father, John Thomas Axton, was a naval officer stationed in Jacksonville, Florida. The family joined him there in 1949. Axton graduated from Robert E. Lee High School in 1956 and left town after an hour's hardware burned down on graduation night, a prank gone wrong. Axton attended Oklahoma State for a short length of time before following his father and enlisting in the Navy. Axton served aboard the U.S. Ranger before pursuing a music career. After his discharge from the Navy on the West Coast, he began singing folk songs in San Francisco nightclubs. In the early 1960s he released his first folk album, titled The Balladeer, which included his song, Greenback Dollar, a 1963 hit for the Kingston Trio. Axton released numerous albums well into the 1980s. Axton had many minor singing hits of his own, such as Bony Fingers, When the Morning Comes, and 1979's Della and the Dealer, as well as Jealous Man. His vocal style featured his distinctive bass baritone and use of characterization, but his most lasting contributions were songs made famous by others. Joy to the World, and Never Been to Spain, the previously mentioned Greenback Dollar, The Pusher, and Snowblind Friend, No No Song, and an array of others, covered by singers such as Joan Baez, Arlo Guthrie, B.J. Thomas, John Denver, Waylon Jennings, Jonathan Edwards, and Anne Murray. Axton also sang a couple of duets with Linda Ronstadt, including Lion in Winter and When the Morning Comes. His composition, Joy to the World, as performed by Three Dog Night, was #1 on the charts for 6 straight weeks in 1971, making it the top hit of the year. Axton was the first singer-songwriter and actor all at the same time. He first appeared on television in a David L. Wolper ABC production of The Story of a Folksinger. He frequently appeared on Hootenanny, hosted by Jack Linkletter during this period. In 1965, he appeared in an episode of Bonanza, then followed with other TV roles over the years. As he matured, Axton specialized in playing good old boys on television and in films. His face became well known in the 1970s and 1980s through many TV and film appearances, such as in the movies Gremlins and The Black Stallion. He sang the jingle, Head for the Mountains, in the Busch beer commercials in the 1980s. In 1985 he did a commercial for Pizza Hut. Last years and death, Axton spent some time struggling with cocaine addiction, and several of his songs, including The Pusher, Snowblind Friend, and No No Song, partly reflect his negative drug experiences. He had been known as an opponent of drug use for many years when, in February 1997, he and his wife were arrested at their Montana home for possession of approximately 500 grams of marijuana, a little over a pound. His wife explained later that she offered Axton marijuana to relieve pain and stress following a 1995 stroke. Both were fined and given deferred sentences. Axton never fully recovered from his stroke, and still had to use a wheelchair much of the time. His mother, Mae, drowned in a hot tub at her Tennessee home in 1997. On November 1, 2007, he and his mother were inducted posthumously into the Oklahoma Music Hall of Fame in Muskogee, Oklahoma. Discography. Albums, singles, selective list of songs. Among his best-known compositions are Greenback Dollar, covered by the Kingston Trio, The Pusher, covered by Steppenwolf on their debut album in 1968. This version was also used in the soundtrack of the classic 1969 motion picture, Easy Rider. No No Song, which became a No. 3 hit for Ringo Starr in March 1975. Never Been to Spain, covered by Three Dog Night, Waylon Jennings, and Elvis Presley. Joy to the World, the Three Dog Night hit from April 1971, which held US No. 1 for 6 weeks. Snowblind Friend, covered by Steppenwolf. Lightning Bar Blues, covered by Brownsville Station and Arlo Guthrie. Sweet Misery, covered by John Denver. When the Morning Comes, Bony Fingers, Della and the Dealer. Hotel Ritz, Rusty Owl, Halo, Hangnail in My Life, Snowblind album, Della and the Dealer, and Hotel Ritz both became minor hit singles in the UK after extensive playing by the British DJ Terry Wogan on his BBC Radio 2 breakfast programme of the time. Movies and television appearances. Movie appearances: Smokey, The Black Stallion, Heart Like a Wheel, Gremlins, Cloud Dancer, Season of Change, Disorganized Crime, Retribution, We're No Angels, The Junkman, Deadline Auto Theft, Buried Alive 2, Dixie Lanes, Liar's Moon, Christmas Comes to Willow Creek, Endangered Species, Kingfish, Harmony Cats, King Cobra. Axton also performed the theme song that plays over the closing credits of the film Mitchell. Television appearances: The Tonight Show starring Johnny Carson, McCloud, Hootenanny, I Dream of Jeannie, Domestic Life, Dukes of Hazzard, Bonanza, Skinflint, A Country Christmas Carol, WKRP in Cincinnati, Flow, Different Strokes, Murder, She Wrote, Growing Pains, Fairy Tale Theater, Goldilocks and the Three Bears, The Bionic Woman, Road to Nashville, The Rousters, Dallas, The Early Years, The Iron Horse. Axton also composed and sang the theme song to the short-lived television sitcom Flow. Several songs for the 1977 film Outlaw Blues were composed by Axton and sung by Peter Fonda. The Rousters was a short-lived television sitcom with Axton as Cactusar Jack Slade. The show starred Chad Everett as Wyatt Earp III, the grandson of the legendary Wyatt Earp, and Jim Varney as his dim-witted brother, Evan. In the mid-90s, Axton was chosen to host and narrate the profile series The Life and Times on the Nashville Network, in which a different country music figure was spotlighted each hour. His voice was heard throughout and he was seen on camera during the introduction and closing of each show in which he participated. Axton also showed up as the narrator for 2 documentaries of the Western States 100-mile endurance race in 1982 and 1983 called Desperate Dreams.